In our video on the Honda CBR 650R, we talked about how the new Euro 5 emissions regulations have been killing off the traditional view of the 600cc sports bike category. And one of the big victims of this was the Yamaha R6, as Yamaha have removed the 600cc four-cylinder engine from its lineup in favour of a 700cc twin in the R7. However, technically speaking, the R6 is not dead just yet, as it's still available to buy brand new, but only as a track bike. While we're yet to jump on the R7 for a video road test and see what it's really like to ride, we wanted to give the R6 a send-off into retirement. So, on my birthday, we joined the Yamaha Track Experience at Oulton Park to take the very last R6 for a few laps. Now, the Yamaha Track Experience is effectively an arrive and drive package where you turn up at a track and there'll be a fleet of Yamaha sports bikes available to you. Both the R6 and the R7 are available on the day when we were there, with full support for the day, and there's also options for training as well. The only problem was that it was absolutely pouring down with rain the day before, and even started raining as we were getting onto our bikes to head out for the sighting laps. But while we had a wet start to the day, thankfully there were cars on track as well between sessions, so they quickly cleared it up, and the sun began to shine too. And I have to say, while I wouldn't be too keen to have this version of the R6 as a road bike, as a track bike, it was fantastic. I know, a Yamaha that I actually liked. I'm as shocked as you are. But while most of my track experience is on four wheels, I was amazed at how comfortable I felt riding this thing in circles around Oulton Park for the day. Having track knowledge from my racing days was a big advantage, but considering I'd never ridden this bike before, never mind riding it around Oulton Park, I was soon overtaking people, far sooner than I expected. And when it came to on-track training, because I wasn't having to think too much about the bike or the track, I could start to work on my riding, as body positioning is a big hangover for me, as it's not really something you have to think about in car racing. But I was amazed at how confidence-inspiring the R6 was. As soon as you roll out of the pit lane, you feel the urge to twist that throttle on and start pushing through the corners that bit more. The only unnerving thing was the fact that the seat is so slippery that you feel yourself hurtling forward every time you brake, so it's hard to get yourself into position properly. But sadly, as the day went on, the weather started to roll in again, and by late afternoon there were a couple of people starting to have little offs. So when it came to the last session, most of the bikes that were there for the track day had already started to pack up and go home. And while the Yamaha Track Experience was great and the bike was fantastic, at the end of it all, it was sad to think that this is a category that's dying out and that bikes like this won't be around forever. Fortunately, they'll have plenty of life left in them, and while we won't see a new one again, we've been seeing R6s at track days for 20 years, and I'm sure we'll continue to see them for another 20 as well. In fact, on the day that we were there was a guy on an original R6. Unfortunately, he was a bit of a prick and took every opportunity to overtake people after the checkered flag. But I shall be an adult and a gentleman and not suggest that the reason for that was that he has a very small willy. But what was encouraging is that there was also somebody there on a Honda CBR 650R like the one that we road tested. And as I mentioned in the previous video, it feels like Honda is really keeping the spirit of the 600 Supersports alive. As for Yamaha, I eagerly await jumping on the R6's replacement, the R7. I did get to ride it a little bit at Motorcycle Live, but it was a complete washout, so there wasn't much that we could get from it really. And annoyingly, Yamaha agreed that we could borrow one about 4 months ago, but still haven't gotten back to us about booking it in, so watch this space, I suppose. But until next time, I'll see you later.